today aren't the real Jews, or not all of them are not the real Jews. The real Jews are us. Black people.
I was going to say define us.
Right.
Go ahead.
Black people, Hispanics.
Yo, what's good? It's your man Double. City Takers, Norfolk Music in the building. Right now, you in the field with the Trackstarz, and we in the field getting our hands dirty. You dig?
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah.
All right, this episode is sponsored by True Strength Apparel. Make sure you go to www.truestrengthapparel for all the latest gears. For all things Trackstarz, visit trackstarz.com. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join the Trackstarz universe. We definitely need you to do that. We need you to join the universe. We need you to send in your music submissions, your video submissions. Also, just get ready for Trackstarz, the next movement of Rap Reel. We have another movement on the calendar yet?
In June.
In June? Awesome. So make sure that you're getting ready for your submissions with Rap Reel.
All right, so everybody knows about this. So Kendrick released another album yesterday, and I guess general reactions to it.
What do beavers
build?
build?
Really good job. General reactions to it we could talk about, but I kind of want to talk about something specific on it. So you could talk about that first. What did you think about it?
Overall, I think I'm gonna set up the alley-oop for you. I think when I was listening to it, I was like, okay, and he started saying certain things, and I was like, okay, I see where he's trying to go, okay. And then production-wise, okay, let's go. Production-wise, it's different. It's different. It's like, it's almost like To Pimp a Butterfly, but different than that. At that time, that was different. So when he start getting deeper and deeper into the album, and when I got to Fear, and after Fear, I just stopped. I was like, I'm good. Like I tried to listen again, and I was like, I'm good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you hated it.
Yeah, I had the
you
same
loved
reaction.
it.
Did you really hate it?
I do. I had the same reaction. Just because when we left that genre of music, the way people look up to these artists and the way that they are so influenced by it, I think it's disgusting. I can't stand it. And it was doing something to me. Like I could feel myself having some kind of transformation through that music, and I just think it's dangerous. And so when I was listening to it, it was like every other word made my ears pop. Like, wow, I'm sitting here just like, I can't believe that we can talk about this stuff and nobody says anything. And I mean, it just is where the music is right now. But it was
I completely agree with that. I mean, again, I was having a conversation with Lauren Michelle about the album yesterday, and I was telling her, like, I like, everybody was staying up to midnight to watch it, and I was like, I'm super careful about what I listen to at night, because, like, I don't want it playing into my spirit, and like I think Kendrick is an amazing artist, but, like, for me to listen to it for the sake of being like, let me listen to it because he's dope, like, that's just not, for my spirit, I don't think that's the best thing. And then I also have a subscription to a streaming service that lets me listen to the edited album. However, I listened to it on Spotify yesterday because they didn't have it up yet. So I listened yesterday, and I feel like sonically, like, production wise, it's incredible. Like, the transitions from song to song, the thought process, I just think that there's so many things on it that are done right, like, just like before the lyrics. I'm really impressed by that. I also am super impressed by the fact that he's such a storyteller. I think it's great, like, the way that he does, like, the way that he speaks on things. He approaches it from a different perspective. Like, I like when he changes his voice, and, like, I think there's so many things done right. I'm not going to even say however, because, like, I'm not taking away from that. For me, as a woman of God, I'm just very careful, like, about, like, what I entertain and call, like, perfection or greatness. Like, he is a great person. I'm not taking that away from him. But for me, there were so many things on the album that were sacrilege. And I was just, like, so, like, bummed that all these people that I respect, and not that I don't respect them anymore, but, like, everybody is, like, literally, like I was saying earlier, and that he's reached sainthood before he's died. Like, people are literally, like, he's a deity right now. And I know we idolize our stars, but, like, people really think that Kendrick can do no wrong. And it bothers me, especially, like, in the church community that everybody is just like, this album, this album, this album, this album, this album, this album. And I'm like, yo, like, I haven't seen y'all talk about anything like this. And I'm not saying you have to, like, I'm not saying you got to get on your Twitter and talk about Jesus all day. Like, because I don't. But, like, why am I seeing more about this album than I'm seeing about anything in the world? Like
Good Friday.
He's like literally right. So everybody has this theory that he waited to drop his album because he wanted to like give what was it, Joey Bad? Joey Bad. Sorry, y'all. That dropped his album. They were like, he was trying to give him, but no, I think there's a whole plan. Like, he's going to drop an album on Sunday. It's not confirmed, but like the speculation is so strong, I'll be completely surprised if he doesn't.
And it would be disappointing. So it's a stupid speculation. If it's not true, whoever started that rumor, I would sue them.
I mean, but there's so many facts behind it there's so many facts behind it, and I think even what's his name from RMG, Derek Minor. Yeah, he tweeted like this whole thing the other day that was like point by point by point by point. I'll give it and I feel like if it doesn't, like I'll just be surprised if it doesn't. There's too many things that are leading up to it. But for me, I felt like no, he wasn't trying to give Joey his props. He was literally like taken away from Jesus,
trying to eclipse the cross.
Yeah, and like even somebody that's not saved. He was talking the other day. He's like, no, he's trying to be Jesus because Jesus came out. He, because in the album starts, he gets shot because he walks up to a blind woman and he's like, are you looking for something? I'm trying to help you. And he's like, yeah, you lost. You did lose something. You lost your life. Bang, there's a gunshot. So that part was a little bit like ooh to me. But then at the end of the album, he finishes it and it's like it happens again. And I was like really like wigged out at the end of the album. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So he's gonna die on Friday. He's gonna be resurrected on Sunday. So to me, in the manner that he's releasing, it's sacrilege. But everybody is so like geeked on it, like yeah. And I'm just like, y'all, regardless of good songs, like really, like it bothers me. Like, and I'm sitting here, y'all hear me saying that it's good music. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh, you're just one of these super saints. Like, no, like I get it. Like I super get it. But like, why is it that we as a body, as Christians, feel that we have to compromise or we have to give props to the enemy for the sake of being relevant to pop culture?
Oh,
like I think that's so. I think that's so like bizarre to us that we have to be like I have these conversations with people. I'll be like, yo, da-da-da was dope, but I just don't like how he said that about Jesus. And they're like, well, everybody's not saved. And I get that. But don't be counterproductive to the cross. Literally, don't speak against Jesus and I have to accept that just because he's a pop culture icon. He may be your icon, but he's not mine. Jesus is my ultimate icon. Right. If you're coming against my icon, and this is, again, not some super saint thing, but I'm bothered by this album because I'm seeing like, and then everybody, like, I don't curse. And like, if you curse, I know some people were like, well, we give words power. Yes, but like I believe that we can give other words power. Why is it that everybody felt like this album could give them the authority to like curse about everything, and everybody's like trying to figure out cool ways, like I've seen so many Christian hip-hop artists like putting out like his lyrics and they like don't censor themselves and they're like, well, it's coming from the album. Like, cool, I've never seen you quote anybody else's album. Like, why now? You know what I'm saying? It's just like there's so much like this is sowing a seed of discourse because I guarantee you somebody's gonna come for me and be like, well, you just sound judgmental. So be it, because I really feel like it's odd that this whole album, but I like it. It's cool, but I don't want to be a part of it. Yeah. So that's it. Sorry about the rant.
All right, so
it was a great rant.
Mm-hmm.
I know better
Ryan,
than ours combined.
No, I didn't.
Okay, it was good. It was good. It different to me. My perception of it was that he was kind of swerving into Drake's lane, because up until now Drake has always outsold him, even though people think Kendrick is the best. Yeah. But now I think this album can compete with More Life because it has some of the elements of More Life on it, and right now it's working because he's, like I said, he's like 1 through 14 on Spotify, top list. So that's not really important to me, the album. What happened on it, and there was a big argument about this amongst Christian hip hop artists. Some people don't even like that we're bringing it up, but it was clear that there was a Black Hebrew Israelite theme. His uncle, he said his uncle Carl Duckworth, I think, is basically the one saying this to him. And I don't know if he's buying into it or not, or just highlighting it, but it is definitely on Yah and Fear, where he, and actually one other one he mentions it, that this Black Hebrew Israelite thing is influencing some of these songs. Now, I didn't know how many Black Hebrew Israelites were in Christian hip hop. Did you?
Remember what I told y'all on the phone?
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who believe in this philosophy. Now, do you know what it is? Are you familiar with what
I have a
Black
gist, but I don't know
I have
the
an
tenets,
uncle who's
the official tenets of it.
a Black Hebrew Israelite,
Okay.
and then there's a couple of people that used to go to my church that now go to a Black Hebrew church down the street. So.
All right, so this is all over the place. Ton of people. So we started doing some research. Jeremiah did some research. I knew a little bit about it from my dad when he was teaching me evangelism and stuff, but I had to research it. Right, so I was able to get in contact with somebody who considers themselves a Messianic Black Hebrew Israelite.
Okay.
And I talked to him for all day yesterday. You may know who it is. I'll tell you later. So I don't know if he wants to be involved in this, but he did a really good job breaking it down.
Okay.
Right now, here's the biggest thing. There's several different types of Black Hebrew Israelites.
Wow.
And they disagree on things. So like he would consider the people who stand on the corner and yell at people, he would consider them extreme.
Okay.
Like a sect, like our
Westboro.
Exactly. So he's like, don't judge me based on what they do.
Gotcha.
I'm Messianic, meaning I think Jesus is the Savior. He's this and that. I don't believe in all that stuff. For instance, one of the other things that is common with them is that you have to use the Hebrew name for God and Jesus.
Yeshua.
But he'll say, but the person I was talking to, he'll say Jesus, and he's a little more moderate version of it. So, but he did lay out kind of the belief, and the basic belief is that the Jews that are in Israel today. So now you know the importance of Israel. Israel is like a huge deal to a lot of different people, right? Yeah. The main belief is that the Jews that are in Israel today aren't the real Jews, or not all of them are not the real Jews. The real Jews are us. Black people.
I was going to say define us.
Right.
Go ahead.
Black people, Hispanics,
saying.
Black, Hispanics, Indian, Caribbean, American Indian. They believe that we're the real Israelites.
Not Asian.
Not Jews specifically. Israelites, meaning from the tribes, the 12 tribes, right? So they believe the transatlantic slave trade is how we got to America, and that the white man aren't original. The ones that look white in Israel aren't the original Israelites. They're the converts, and they've taken over Israel. And racism is keeping us from claiming our original heritage. Now, why this is important is because, as you know, African Americans, most of us don't know where we're from, really. Like, if you say, what country in Africa are you from?
Ghana.
Do you know? Do you know?
Nope.
So a lot of us don't know, right? So this provides an identity and in a sense, the supreme identity to Black people. And it turns racism on its head, because it's like, you're just afraid of the power that I have. If God chose me, you're trying to suppress that. That's just kind of like, that's my gathering of it, right? Mm-hmm. So Black people aren't the only ones who claim this. There's British Israelites. There's a bunch of Japanese Israelites. There's other cultures that claim that we're the true Israelites. So everybody wants this chosen one, thing, right? So there are some good arguments as to why they believe this, and how there's cities. There's actually a group of people in Ethiopia. They actually tested their DNA, and they're found to have the bloodline of the priesthood, the Levitical priesthood, and they confirmed that. And there's Jews that actually got up and said that it's true, and this and that. So at the end of the day, when we were talking, I was like, okay, let's say that it's true. So what? I understand it matters as far as like socially political. Like, what does it mean as a Christian? What does it matter if you're really an Israelite or not? And that's where I spent the most time with him. And the belief is that if you're an Israelite, there's certain things that apply to you that don't apply to other people in the Bible. That there's a curse that was put on you in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, that if you don't come back to the law and the true teaching of God, that you're going to have this curse on you. And the belief that the Revelations end time stuff is that Israel is supposed to all come back to the motherland, the home, right? Yeah. And because people don't recognize Black people as Jews, that prophecy isn't fulfilled until we get back there. So that's the importance of it to them, is that this prophecy, Jesus can't come back until they recognize that we're the true Jews and we get back into the place, because there is a call to get Jews back into Israel because it's been reformed in 1948. Yeah. So did a lot of research about this yesterday. So that's the crux of the problem. Now the issue is that there are some Black Hebrew Israelites that don't that reduce the importance of Jesus. There's some that don't believe in the Trinity. But again, it's all over the place. There's no leader. There's no like headquarters.
Yeah.
It's there's some in Canada, Philly, there New York, all over the place. I think in Atlanta, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's some
in Atlanta. So they're all over the place. There's no real central figurehead for it. It's just a belief that, and it's existed from before the Civil War, way before this idea that black people are the true Israelites. So what do you guys think about that?
That was a fire hydrant.
I know. Wow.
I think I'm like you. Like, so what? Like, what does it matter? I mean, if you believe, now that's the interesting thing about it. If you believe that something has to happen in order for prophecy to take place and revelation to actually, then that is something that you probably struggle with. That would make it difficult. That I see why they would probably be torn between that. But when you have all the different sects, like you say, and you have all the different ideas and things of that nature, it's still just like any other argument. It's decisive.
And I'm trying to represent as well, because I'm sure there's going to be people that are, like when we did the Nation of Gods and Earths, they roasted us. I don't care. But the point is, though, is I talked to him to make sure I was representing it right. So I don't know if he'll think I'm doing a good job or not. But part of it is this black identity. The same thing when Nation of Islam became big is because black people don't have this identity of where they're from, and they've been suppressed and repressed for so long that this gives them like I'm really actually the best of us. You treat me like the worst of us, but I'm really the best of us, and you don't want to admit that.
Yeah, and I mean, I get, God has a chosen people. I definitely get that, understand that, and believe that. But I also know that he died for Jews and Gentiles. He died for all people. And so for me, taking this even out of the equation, I fight hard to make sure that the core of my identity is in Christ, not in my gender, not in my race, not in my political affiliation, not in my fraternity, sorority, whatever, not in where I went to school. I mean, literally, it could go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you profess to be a follower of Christ, that should be your fight too. That's where the core of your identity lies, like literally.
Yeah.
And I think this theology or this form of belief can often fuel the opposite and reinforce your identity coming from your ethnicity versus Christ. I
agree with that. I think that kind of like what I was telling you guys in the meeting earlier, like I believe that everything, every fundamental problem that we face in this earth is an identity crisis. We don't know whose we are, and that's solved to me by community. So it's identity, community, identity, community. So my community is the body of Christ, and obviously Christ solves that. But before you reach Christ, a lot of time it's a community pointing you there. So for me, again, like I feel like this is, especially for black people, like you say, some people have asked me, why have you never found out what tribe you're from? And I'm like, I'm a part of Jesus's tribe. I used to say that like as a joke, but for me, it's not super like, because I feel like that doesn't inform my daily decision making. And I feel like people are looking for things to inform their daily decision making. They want to be like, I'm an African, this and Nubian, da 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 da. And like, no disrespect to that. I know that people find their source in different things, but I feel like that this is another way to create a hierarchy. Like as humans, we're looking for power. So black people are like, well, you said we weren't this and we are that. We are actually this because of our bloodline. Like, no, I'm actually this because Christ called me a leader. He put me here on this earth for this specific purpose. I believe that he made me a black woman because he wanted me to fight so hard to reach the point that I'm going to be at. And it's so that I can learn that struggle and learn humility. And I think that if black people are saying, well, we're actually better than you, and that's kind of what it sounds like. And no disrespect to anybody who believes this way, I could be getting it wrong. But my uncle comes from that thought process. That's who's informing me. He basically is like, we're actually the best. Like our race is the best. We are the purest. That's why they're trying to suppress us so much. Yeah. I think human nature is they will always suppress somebody. We got the short end of the stick.
What this reminds me of, and this is probably a weak reference, but the Hunger Games. You remember the Hunger Games? Spoiler alert. You remember when the whole thing is the capital was repressing the districts, right? And the districts served the capital, and they put them in these games to reinforce their dominance over them. Yeah. And the problem is towards the end, when the districts overturned the capital, they became
exactly
the same,
what they were trying to stop.
Yeah. So the sin that you're accusing the white man of is harbored in your own heart. So if the tables turned and you became the dominant, how would you be any different than them?
Right.
So that's what I'm afraid of with this, is that you're saying that that's evil what they've done to your people, but if you had the opportunity, what would stop you? If you have this same superiority complex.
Exactly.
I understand the desire to be repaid what was taken. I understand. Like, we're not on equal footing. It's been reduced. So I understand being like, okay, no, we aren't that. We are same as you. That fight is valid. But any fight to say go past that is where I'm like, wait a minute, you're doing the same thing they're doing. Because there's a white Jesus. There's in white culture, God is white in there. Every picture I've seen, God is white. And the argument is, how come when I say Jesus is black, all of a sudden I'm not a Christian, all of a sudden I'm a cult, all of a sudden it's this and that, but I don't know who you've been I don't. When I see white Jesus and white this and white that, that's wrong too. We did a whole segment on that. So all of it is wrong. And we just got to make sure that we're not retaliating with the same sin as what was done to you. You know what I mean?
And understand that does not negate the fact that, we deal with racism. I mean, that's the world we live in. I deal with sexism. That is the world that I live in. That doesn't negate any of that. But that's why I say I fight constantly to make sure the core of my identity is not in any of that.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
Yesterday, I visited the Human and Civil Rights Museum here in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
That was an experience.
Really good.
And it made me shriek a little bit. I did the experiment where you put your hands and they're attacking you, and there was something that was riddled through my body. It was this feeling, and I was just like, this is really uncomfortable. I don't know how much more of this I can take. And reading all the stories and reading what was said, it really does make you feel like you've overcome something great. You've overcome something terrible.
Yeah.
And so when you think about all the pressure that was on so many people at that time, you wonder, like what you just said, if you reverse it, does it get better? Does it get worse? Does it stay the same? And I think, honestly, we had this topic last night at a Bible study. Can black people be racist? And one person said absolutely not, and the other person said yes, definitely. And the question is, if you think absolutely not, then what would you do in a situation where you are superior? You may say, I want my culture to advance. I want my children to do this. I want to keep this separate
you
from
would be
that.
afraid if you saw your culture losing its power too. You would feel the same way.
That's just
the
how
thing,
it goes.
The thing that surprised me the most was reading the Jim Crow laws. When they said that, and this was like, they had like question marks on it when they really couldn't believe it was a real law. But black books had to be stored in a separate place than from where white kids touched, because they didn't want white kids touching behind black kids like that, or and I was just thinking, who sits at a table and comes up with that as a law, and people around the table are like, yeah, that's a good idea,
that makes sense.
good.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, put that in there.
That's crazy.
Let's add this one too.
That's crazy. So I really do think that it wouldn't get any better.
But what it shows though is that there is a need out there. There's young black men and women that are in need. It's like when you're adopted and you don't know who your real parents are, and you have this need for, like, who am I? What do what do my parents look like? What's my birthright that's been given to me? Who am I like in my past? When people do this 1, 2, 3 and me or in Ancestry.com, it's like there's a feeling that your blood matters in a way like that it has any impact on you. And I understand, like, my family's from Jamaica, so and I was talking to them about this last night. I understand the need to feel like you belong somewhere, even though that's not our ultimate origin. It's a hop along the path, but it still feels like a place for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And black Americans don't have that place for us. Like, where are we from before we got here type feeling. And it's devastating. I don't know if people realize how devastating that is. But the truth, though, is that even though that's unfortunate and that's a sin against us, whether your dad or your ancestors were terrible people, dumpsters of people, it has no effect on you. And this was addressed in the Bible, like when they said, why is this person blind? Is it because his dad sinned? It's like, no, it has nothing to do with your lineage. Your lineage has nothing to do with you. Ultimately, Jesus deals with you individually, and any limitations you have on your life are to bring God glory. Yeah. So that has nothing to do with you. Your ancestors from thousands of years ago have nothing to do with you. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, because the problem is a lot of us were raised in churches that were based on white church, which emphasizes the New Testament. You barely read the Old Testament. And what they're basically saying is that the Old Testament is 2/3 of the book, and we spend no time there. Yeah. And they're basically saying that there are some very important prophecies for Israel. Yeah. That Paul even talks about what Israel, specifically the 12 tribes, are supposed to do in the millennium and the end times and all that stuff. So they do think there is some importance to that. And if we happen to be the real Israelites or whatever, then it does matter, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm going to end, because this could take all day. The last thing is, I went really, really deep into end times theology when I was younger. Super deep. I don't know if Andrew remembers it, but I used to go like super, super hard into it. And what I learned from that was, it's good to study Revelations and all that, but sometimes you can get caught up in it, where there's people who try to predict the end times. And unfortunately, white, black, Indian, everybody else also subtly tries to influence the end times, where white people protect Israel because you're supposed to. The black Israelites, we need to get back to Israel because we're supposed to. But Jesus doesn't need your help with the end times. Like
Jesus Jr.
You're not delaying. You're not delaying anything. Right. Like, you can't do anything to stop anything from happening. So when he comes back, he's coming back. You can't do nothing to stop that. So I just, this subtle desire from presidents, America in general, any other sect of people around the world that subtly want to influence, like they know what's supposed to happen, so they're trying to protect this globalism and this one currency and all this stuff that's foretold. There's nothing you can do to hurry that, stop it, slow it down, and you probably shouldn't. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, we just got to be really careful with that stuff. It's interesting, but just keep your hands off of it. If black people are really the Israelites and they're supposed to be back in Israel, God will make it happen. You don't have to do it. It's not your job. You know what I mean? So that's just my only concern, and I'm sure they have a lot to say back to me, but that's my heart on it.
So how do we package this with the Kendrick situation?
It's influencing a lot of people, and I'm seeing it a lot more, and I just want us to just take a step back. It's interesting, it's important, it's sad. If it's true, it's sad that it's been repressed, that if that's the truth, that racism has suppressed that. It's sad, and that needs to be dealt with. But I don't want to oversell the importance of that to the point where you minimize Jesus's role in all of this, because it doesn't matter white, black, Asian, whatever. If you're a Christian, that's you're a child of God. Yeah. Right. And there are some specific things for Israel, but let God deal with that stuff. You shouldn't have to have anything to do with that. That's my opinion. So let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Wright to SEANTANA, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.